Nowadays, we all take 4G for granted, and we are enjoying using that service when we have a mobile device in our hands. So I'm going to ask Mr. TAKKAR here. Sir, when you will retire, let's hope whenever you want, actually, do you think Vodafone will offer like what, 7G, 9G? How many Gs? And please welcome, you have the floor also.
Thank you very much. I feel like I'm getting older every day, so the retirement might be sooner rather than later. Look, I think it's a well-known fact that we had 2G technology that was in, let's say, the marketplace for close to about 20 years, 15 years before 3G sort of came along and getting install base. 4G took half the time, about 5 years before, 10 years before 3G was there, before 4G came, and now we're talking about 5G when 4G has not been in the market for even 5 years. So I think in some ways the speed and the pace of innovation in our industry is going very, very fast. So at that pace, it's hard to say what number we will be at. I have a feeling we might not be in single-digit numbers. We may be in double-digit numbers by the time I retire, which might be an indication how long I have to work to get some peace in this industry, in a way.
All right. Well, let's hope do you think how many Gs by 2020 then? Because that's the target that ANCOM is looking at today.
Well, certainly 5G. I would hope that 5Gs will be. I think it'll be still early days for it, but certainly pre-commercial trials. Because I think the technology part, there's an ecosystem that goes along with it, and that's the part that takes time more than anything else. And I think in many ways the technology and the things that we are seeing in the laboratories and what the capabilities are, I think those things are, let's say, if you can say, the easier part. It's changing the ecosystem, and then more importantly, as was mentioned earlier, the amount of investment that's required in rolling out those networks is very, very big. And that usually requires use cases, it requires business plans and things like those, which are not necessarily easier to come by.
Well, I have a trick question now. Building on your unique experiences with vis-a-vis, right, and thinking of 4G and the future 5G, would you invest your money, let's say 1 year salary, in broadband content convergence?
Broadband content convergence?
Yes.
I have to say, will I invest? I wish I had invested already. I'd be a rich man. Maybe I won't be here if I had done that. It is certainly something that is happening. I think our friends from YouTube here, Dan, I'm not sure where he's sitting, but would tell you content and broadband have converged for a long period of time, and that continues to happen. I think, and so in many ways, it's not a bet that is, something that it's new. It's there in the industry. It's happening more and more. Acceleration of over-the-top platforms and over-the-top content providers is only going faster, and I think there's only one direction. I think the lady from Mercury Research talked about, if you look at the younger generation and their habits, you can see already that in their world, that's what it is. I have a 14-year-old child. For them, a fixed line service means nothing. TV, they haven't watched TV. We don't have TV subscription at home for 2 years. For them, TV is irrelevant. Actually, the traditional form of TV, not TV in the sense the actual device itself, but the traditional form of TV is irrelevant. So in that way, I think the convergence is already taking place, certainly for certain generations of people.
Okay, and then we have a host here, ANCOM. In what type of country do you want to act? What kind of regulations by 2020? I mean, how much is Romania comparing with the other markets that Vodafone operates on?
Look, I think from a regulatory perspective, as we have heard earlier on, from all the different things that we think will happen from the future, from Jack on the versions of his view of where things are going, and from some of the earlier, Jean-Francois talked about, we think industry is getting more and more and more complex. issues around net neutrality, around security, around privacy, around all the other things that we don't even know yet. We didn't touch Internet of Things and what is actually the regulatory position there and so on. So in some ways, I think the job of a regulator is certainly getting more and more complex. It's by no way getting any easier because of the complexity that is happening. And I think the things that we can expect are very much the things that that have been in some ways mentioned before, which is really around transparency, a level playing field, things that are, I would say, associated with more discussions, because actually nobody really knows the answer of this stuff. Yeah, there's Dan. Nobody knows the answer to this stuff in the sense that we think that having more consultation, talking more about it, finding the right solutions together is the kind of process that we would like to have. Now, if I compare Romania to some of the other countries that Vodafone operates in, I would say I think this the challenge that we see, the immediate challenge, because the bigger challenges that about security, privacy, net neutrality, these are all things that everybody's grappling with. I think Romania is no exception in many ways. I think the challenge in Romania is really around what I would call a little bit more simpler things right now, which are fundamental. For example, on fixed access, Jean-François talked about that part. I think having a balanced regulation in that area is very important. So I think we are talking about more fundamental things that we would like to see. This is a balance of regulation that has been created in multiple countries for many, many years. And we heard in Belgium. Belgium is a very good example of very high internet penetration and having very balanced regulation in that regard. And I think for us immediately, the focus is to say, how can we get that level playing field to continue to do the investments? So we are also a very heavy investor in Romania for many, many years. And I think it's about continuing that investment and providing our customers with the service that they deserve and they expect in the future.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I told Mr. Falashe. You cannot live anywhere. It's too late for
We
that.
have no plans to leave.
Yes,
so
please don't.
There's no plan to leave.
Stay
just
here,
don't kill us. Yeah?
have an open dialogue with the regulators and the other stakeholders.
Yeah.
And we all want, as consumers and customers, transparency, predictability, and a level play field, because this translates into better services and cheaper services for us, for all.
Yes.
So thank you for your input, Mr. Takkar. Thank you very much.
Yes, very good. All right. Do you want me to say anything else about the
Please,
future?
please,
Okay.
please.
So I think the important thing, which I want to mention, besides the question, which I think you touched on the important part, is look, I think the future, it's, there's a famous saying that it's very difficult to predict, especially the future. And I think we are in this phase where, frankly, the opportunities are so significant. I mean, any direction, any angle that you touch, it is fabulous. I talk about the fact that whether it's machine-to-machine Internet of Things, when everything starts talking to everything, one chair talks to a stool or talks to, and they start talking, they start communicating with each other. The opportunities are endless, which is really what is so exciting, which is what gets me excited in the morning to wake up and seeing what are the things that we can do. And this is just things. When you start talking about people and what those opportunities are, fabulous innovation that's taking place in the space, I think this is the real benefit and the value, and I think what we will see in the future. And it's great to be part of an industry which enables all of that, because what I see ourselves as doing is enabling all of these exciting things to happen. And I think the main focus, which is really the request for Mr. Marnascu, is really please keep those enablers alive. Let's just make sure, I think, and that's the responsibility, because the digital agenda of a country is very important. Reaching, the difference between countries that are going to be leading in the digital economy versus who are going to be behind is going to be based on this infrastructure that happens, that gets created. And I think it is very important that we continue to fuel that, because no matter what, many countries, and Romania is a very good example of which can leapfrog many, many even more developed economies if we invest in our digital agenda. And I think the real burden in all of us, and we take that responsibility very seriously, is also to make sure that that continues to happen. And I think I'm sure that will happen. And we look forward to working with ANCOM and with the rest of the regulators to make that we can get there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Takkar.